everybody, what is going on? Welcome to Regular Josh 1. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button in this video, and if you're new, subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Gary the Editor's Q&A video so you get to know him a little more. Also, Duel Academy has recently released its second episode, so click the link in the description to check it out. So, since my last video about Johnny Test, the Revival series has since been released on Netflix. Also, because of that video, I've learned a couple of things. One, that Johnny Test was apparently doing very well on Netflix. It's one of the more popular cartoons on that streaming service. I never knew this, so as you can imagine, this was a big surprise to me for so many reasons. Also, another thing that surprised me as well is that a few of my viewers also like Johnny Test. Some of them were even confused as to why I was saying that Johnny Test was not anyone's favorite. Well, let me explain for the kids watching. When I was still in middle school and parts of high school, Johnny Test used to air on Cartoon Network before moving to Netflix. I think for the first few years, I don't really remember many people talking about it. I even watched the show as well at the time, and it was probably considered one of my favorites for a bit. But it was around maybe the last couple of seasons and me getting older where my view of the show was definitely changing. I wasn't the only one, because I would see lots of people just not saying good things about Johnny Test in general. It seemed like the general consensus was that Johnny Test was just a bad show, and a lot of us still agree to that to this day. So, as expected, I decided to check out the Revival show out on Netflix. I was legitimately curious as to whether the show was going to be an improvement or not, or if anything, how much of an improvement was it going to be. And of course, since I wanted to compare this version with the first series, it also meant that I had to watch a couple of those episodes too. Oh boy, did I not miss watching those episodes, my god. When it comes to the newer series of Johnny Test, this is already a big improvement on the previous series. It's still not the best show out there or anything, but it's at least watchable. Part of the reason for that is, well, now the art style is slightly different. More of an upgrade, if anything else. The background has a bit more detail to it, and the drawings of each characters are definitely better. Look at the previous designs. The drawings are, honest to God, just so ugly to look at times. Now, in terms of casting, all of the voice actors have returned to reprise their roles, all except for Ashley Ball, who played Mary Test in the original series. Emily Tennant now voices her. I can't really say much here, as I think everyone does pretty well in these roles. Johnny sounds way less annoying than he used to in the previous show, and part of that is, well, he is less annoying in general. He's not as loud and obnoxious anymore. I mean, he still has the same personality, somewhat wild, still troublesome and mischievous, but he is certainly toned down. Now that I think about it, the show in general has certainly toned it down. Don't get me wrong, Johnny still gets himself into some crazy hijinks, like Bling Bling getting everyone on his private island to play like a real-life Fortnite? Did I just say Fortnite? I am so f***ing tired, oh my god. Johnny getting a baby robot brother who wants to destroy him. Johnny somehow combined cities together by accident because he no longer wants to live in Pork Belly anymore, and his body also getting swapped with a goat in one episode. Yeah, the adventures are still crazy. Do not worry about that. Plus, you do see a lot of familiar faces, especially in the very first episode of this new series. But the big difference between these shows is that this one is way less hectic than the previous one. Remember how earlier I said that I did not miss watching the older episodes of the show? Well, I can certainly tolerate it a lot more than I used to, but I certainly forgot just how annoying the show was. I mean, seriously, it's like the show never freaking shuts up. It is so often that one of the characters will just start yelling or screaming for whatever reason, especially Johnny himself. Not to mention all of those infamous whip-cracking sounds that the show is so notorious for. And if that isn't bad enough, you also have the soundtrack that is just so freaking repetitive. Thankfully, for this newer show, most of that is practically gone. I mean, yeah, every now and then you'll hear that whip sound effect, but certainly not as often as you used to. And yeah, it's still a pretty hyper show, but it's not insanely hyper. In fact, If you watch both shows back to back, you can see a major difference. There's a lot of similarities, of course, but the improvements are honestly undeniable. 2021 Johnny Test is way easier for me to watch. In fact, sometimes me watching it, it's kind of surprising that it is Johnny Test. Like, it feels like I'm watching a completely different show. I didn't really have much of a problem or resistance to checking out another episode from this series. Could I even say that a part of me might be enjoying this new Johnny Test? Maybe? I mean, it didn't come anywhere close to annoying me like the previous show did. I'm sure the fans of the original will most likely enjoy this, and the haters of the original might find that they can stomach this show way better. I know lots of people still like the old Johnny Test, and I used to be one of them, but quickly got annoyed with it. Either way, I'm just glad that at the very least, this new series is tolerable to me, and honestly, that's good enough. If you guys have seen the new Johnny Test series, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell to be notified on my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, you're hearing it from a regular bunny in a regular world. See you next time. Baby.